The activity of listing requirements is an iterative and investigative process, which occurs when meeting with the clients and users. Clients often have ideas about what features they would like in a product and what these features should look like. Many clients, however, have limited knowledge of how software is built and vague ideas regarding what makes a product successful. It can be difficult to clients to understand what they truly require in the product. Now, it is the role of the product owner or product manager to help the client figure out what they want and what they need. A want is usually a functionality or feature that the client would like the product to have, which may add value, but is not necessarily core to the product itself. A need, on the other hand, is the core functionality that the product must have to fulfill the product's purpose. This means that the needs should take priority in product development. Now, the best way to discover and develop needs and wants with your client is throughout eliciting requirements, where you engage in discussion about the product with your client. Throughout discussion, the product owner or software product manager and team can help provide insights on what the client needs and wants the product to do, and how these goals can be feasibly achieved. It may be that the initial version the clients had of the product will have changed, but throughout involvement with developers, and the changes should feel proactive and the client should feel reassured that the team understands their needs. Note that eliciting requirements as needs and wants does not necessarily mean that all the client's features and ideas that fall into want category are not doable or should be dismissed. These ideas may be very good, but it is the role of the product owner or software product manager to make sure that the goals are feasible, clients' expectations are realistic, and the product produced is the best possible result. Eliciting requirements should not be confused with requirements gathering. Requirements gathering is the more passive approach of simply asking the client what they would like done, and it often puts the developers in a reactive process. Eliciting requirements, however, engage in in-depth discussion and collaboration from the start of the product development, so both the client and developers work together to build a successful product. Now let's repeat one more time. This is very important. There is a key difference between gathering and elicitation. That difference is how you, as a product owner or product manager, interact with a client. The word gathering is typically used to describe the act of asking your client for a list of things they want to be done. Eliciting is much more involved, interactive, and investigative process, and the result is exponentially better requirements. So better requirements lead to better product. So it's always a good idea to take the time to make sure you get this right. So what exactly is involved in the requirements elicitation? To understand it, let's look at our first example of how a requirements gathering looks. So imagine that you are a product owner that's being asked to build a system for your client. In your first meeting, you ask, so what do you want? They come prepared and hand you a piece of paper that outlines all the features they want in the product, with images specifying exactly how they expect the interface to look. So what happens then? Well, an untrained product owner and his developers might take this list and begin planning the exact product specified by the client. And after all, you're being hired to build what the client wants, right? Wrong! The majority of time, your client won't know much about how the product is built, or the functionality which are required to their product to be successful. They often present you with a list of things they want in the product, but don't have the technical knowledge to know what they need. Now let me give you a second example. I have found in my career that asking clients what they want will give you one answer. Observing them in their native environment will give you often a very different answer and will often show surprises. So I think the approach I would take to find out what they need is to observe the customer as close as to their native environment as possible, because the right product is tightly connected to the right problem. On the other hand, a product done right may be done right, but it is not necessarily solving the right problem, and this is the difference. As a product owner, you want to get people to adopt your product if it's the right one, even if it has a few defects. Customers would forgive you. They know with time you will fix the defects. But if you get the product wrong, but you build it with zero defects, you wasted all your efforts. And this is the difference between the right product and product that's done right for the sake of being done right. Now let's see eliciting requirements techniques.